So yesterday we talked about introduction to wireframing. We talked about the benefits of wireframe. We talked about the types of wireframe, and I showed you an image of how wireframing look like. So we have three types of wireframing. We have the low fidelity, which are sketching out your ideas quickly on a piece of paper. We have the mid-fidelity, mid-fi, which is moving your sketch design into your digital tool, but using the grid system, to make it align properly. But it is just in gray, white, and black color. But the high fidelity is like high fi is like the 98% of your final design, where you have to, use the right font choice, use the color choice, use the alignment and spacing. Maybe you just left for the brand image for you to use. So today we are going to look at the practical part of creating a wireframing. So like I said, this is like a virtual class. Assuming it's a physical class, we will all do a paper sketch on together where we have to brainstorm for idea. But since it's a virtual class, we will just have to start with the mid-fidelity. And also I said that we should, craft out our own idea of how you want the food app to look like and upload on the group. But nobody actually did that, even though it's not like part of your task. But I wanted to see how you guys are going to create. I wanted to see something before we move to mid-fidelity, but no one actually uploaded any screenshot of their sketch. So by the way, we are going to start with the mid-fidelity, since the low fidelity is actually done on a piece of paper. So we are going to start with the mid-fidelity. So starting with the mid-fidelity, so I'm going to name our page 1 to wireframe. So I'm going to name our page 1 to be, I'm going to name our page 1 to be mid-fi. So this is going to be mid-fi. So, and then this is going to be high-fi. So I believe you guys know what is mid-fi, high-fi, and low-fi. Please, can somebody tell me what is mid-fi and high-fi and low-fi? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
So the mid-fi is the mid-fidelity wireframing, while the high-fi is the high-fidelity wireframing.
And then the low-fi?
Fidelity wireframing.
So if someone asks you what is fidelity, can you remember what is fidelity?
Oh, it has to do with the structure, like the structure of the design, like the skeletal structure of the design.
Okay, another person tell us what is fidelity? So if you're saying high fi and somebody actually understood, oh, high fi is high fidelity, fidelity wireframe, and then somebody asks you what is fidelity, so how will you explain it to somebody in your own understanding? Can you remember? We talked about it yesterday. Can anybody remember?
Right. Fidelity is the final look. Is the look and feel of the final product,
okay.
rather.
Product. Yeah, it's in the same thing.
Product. Okay. Now.
Yeah, Ola Yemi, let me hear your own.
Okay, from my own understanding, it's how closely like a design matches the look and feel of a final product. Like let me say in my own understanding, it's just like you drawing out a plan of a construction building. So like the whole plan of how the whole product is going to feel and how it's going to look. The structure.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. I love the fact that you guys understood. Yes, I love the fact that you guys understood it in your own understanding, but overall of what you guys are saying is correct. So I have to put this laptop on. Okay, so let's start. So we're using food app as a case study for the as a project case study. So and we are going to start with starting from the authentication. So we're going to work on the authentication and then we're going to work on the home page. So the first thing we are going to use, so we are going to use, like I said, that's the frame we will use. So for people that did not attend our first class when we did the first onboarding design, and I believe that you guys have watched it. So I'm going to go over again by showing us how this is how FigJam look like. So you can set FigJam either light. If you're using the desktop app, you can set it by light or dark mode. But I love using the browser unlike the app. I don't know why the app does on my laptop are not working in terms. Is it that when you're using the app, like when I'm using the app, it's just hang for no reason. Even my laptop can carry, but just hang for no reason. But if I'm using the browser, I'm always comfortable and it goes free for me. So this is how the browser look like. Like browser look. I'm using the Chrome browser. You can use from wherever browser you want to, but you can choose to download the app. So if you download the app, you have the option to use light or dark mode. So you get you can use the option of light and dark mode. So this is how Figma look like. So I have over 6 persons on this file, which are 7 persons on this file, which are active. So if I click on any of their names, it's going to take me where they are. So this is how it look like. So if you come here, you can change the name. So I'm going to use cohort 3 for our own. So I can see one person here. I can see Christy Design here. So here you can see all your assets. So the reason why all these ones are coming up is coming from my Figma as a whole. It's coming from my Figma as a whole. But if I create any assets, like any asset on this Figma file, if I click on this asset, I'm going to see my own. But this is just coming generally from the Figma itself. So for here, the file, I'm going to see all the pages. So for here, I can, if you click on this plus, it will show you add new pages. So I can add multiple pages and I can just click, double click and then rename the pages. So here I'm going to see my layer. So once I start designing, I'm going to start seeing the names of everything that I'm working on here. So here I can, minimize, take this thing out if I just want to be designing. But since I want to use this particular layers here, there's no need of me hiding. But if you want to present your design, maybe when it's time for you to start presenting your design, this is what you will just do. You just take it off and then we can see what is going on. Or you can use a shortcut key. So if you want to learn any shortcut on Figma, click on this question mark here. When you click, you come to this place that says shortcut. So when you click on shortcut, you can just start learning everything about Figma. You will not compulsory that you will learn it at once. You can just start learning it small, and then you start grabbing it. Just I started small. With time, you get to know many things. Like now, if I want to select shape for R, you see that it's like this. If I want to select frame, this is how it will look like. So there are some. If I want to return back to the same way this Christie design cursor look like. So with time, it will just you start learning the shortcut. So you can change this Canva color. So like I said, I'm a dark mode lover. So you can just come to this page here and then you can change it to whatever color you want to use. But since I'm a dark mode lover, so I'm just going to use black, like this dark shade. But you can choose to whatever color you want to. But to me, it's either you use gray, white, or black. But the best to help your color hierarchy, just use either the gray or the black. It's better that way. But sometimes you don't use black because you might add a black icon and it will just get missing for no reason. So you can just come here once you're done with your prototype. Like last time we did prototype, we clicked on this prototype and then we saw some of our design. So we are going to get started, and you can preview your work from here. You can share the link from here and stuff like that. But with time, you get to understand Figma more better. So we are going to start. We're going to start working on the authentication. Remember, we are designing a low fee food app. So I'm thinking of renaming our food app to be Kemi name has been in my mouth for weeks now. So I'll use Kemi food app delivery. So this is going to be my mobile application name. Like, this is my product name. So I'm going to increase this to 20. No, I'm going to use 100. Like, this is what it like to. So I'm going to use 100. So I'm going to use 100. I'm going to make it bold. So I'll just make it bold. So this is my product name. So this is the application that we want to build, Kemi Food App Delivery. So the application name. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this frame. So I'm going to click here, or you come to this place to select frame. So I'm going to click on frame, and then this will going to come up. So for now, I said you guys should use iPhone 13 mini. As a beginner, you can use iPhone 13 mini, and if you want to do your design mock-up, it is more easier for you to see this from iPhone 13 mini up to iPhone 14 plus and 14 and 13 frame. These are easier for you to get common mock-up that you can play around with before using this mock-up that has all these dynamic islands. But for now, start with this particular one, so you get to know how to play around with mock-up before you move to the next stage. But if you know how to play around with mock-up that have this dynamic island, then you are good to go. I believe you guys know what is dynamic island. Dynamic island is more like for people that use iPhone. You know how iPhone 14, iPhone 15, iPhone 16, the face of the phone look like. So those things are called dynamic island, and we have them in status bar. But at this beginner stage, I know you want to try something more advanced. But for people that are still beginners, they can just start with this particular set of iPhone, the iPhone 13 mini, iPhone 14 plus, iPhone 13 and 14 frames. So you can just start with these 3 frames. It is more for you to use the normal iPhone mock-up to start with before moving to those mock-up that has the dynamic plan. But for now, we are going to use more of this iPhone 13. And then when it comes to you designing your work, I always advise designers to use iPhone 13 mini. Now, at this level where I am, so I still use iPhone 13 mini because it is more easier for the developers to work with this particular frame and then adjust it to be blend with other frame. So I think I'm more comfortable with this frame, and it gives this nice look and feel, making my designs not too big and not too small when you are previewing it on your phone. So I'm just going to use this iPhone 13 mini. So I'm going to change this name to Splash. So how do I want my splash to be? Do I want my splash to be colored, or do I want my splash to be just plain white? But in this Kemi food app, my food app, I want my splash to be colored. So remember, we are designing a mid-fee. So for mid-fee, I'm not going to use any particular color of choice yet. I'm going to implement that on the high fee. But since it's a mid-fee, I'm just going to make I'm going to make my flash to be gray. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this place. I'm going to select a bigger frame, or you can just draw a dummy frame. But since I don't want to get a dummy frame, so I'm just going to use this MacBook Air. So I'm going to use this MacBook Air. So once I use this MacBook Air, I'm just going to select rectangle. Yeah. So I'm going to select the rectangle. I'm going to bring this here. I'm going to duplicate this here. I'm going to duplicate this here. So I want to create more like my color guide just for the mid-fee. So I will not use different shade of gray or different shade of black for my mid-fee. I just want everything to be consistency. Remember, we talked about one of the UI design principle. Don't forget, when we talked about it, is consistency. So I just want the colors to be, consistent. So what I'm going to do is, what shade of gray am I going to use? So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to just come, when I click on this splash frame, I'm going to pick this color. So I'm just going to come to this color code, pick it, and then come here, and then come to this place, and then paste this. So once I paste it, this is the shade I'm going to use. So I'm also going to use this shade. I'm also going to, okay, let me bring a shade between this and this. Now, instead of just assuming, for people that know how to assume good color, good shade of gray, or good, colors. So there is a way you can get, the color like more like a plugin where you get different shade of gray. So different shade of gray. So I'm going to bring this color here. I'm going to, make it black. So I'm going to make it black, not deep black, but just more like black color. So once I make it black, so I'm going to take, since this thing, my background color and this color, they are more like conflicting. So I'm just going to take this bit a little. So I'm just going to make it this way. So once I make it this way, now there's a plugin called Tint and Shade. So I'm going to show you how to save a plugin. Thank goodness I'm using this a new Figma file. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'll come to this here that says action. So once I click on it, I'll click on plugin. So once I click on plugin, that you can see that there's no plugin that I have saved. I've not saved any plugin. These are just suggested plugin that Figma is giving me. So there's a plugin called Tint and Shade. So there's a plugin called Tint and Shade where you get you generate the lighter and darker variations of any color. Now remember, I want to get the darker shade of this black and the lighter shade of this black. So instead of just assuming, oh, this one work, no, this one did not work, this one work, this one did not work. So there's a plugin that will help you generate it like 10, like they are going to be 10. It will just be like, these are the darker shade and these are the lighter shade. So I'm going to click on it. So once I click on it, this is how it's going to look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to either run the plugin or save. But since it's something I'm going to use all the time, I will have to save the plugin. So once I save, you can see that it is now at the top, while from the community is now at the bottom. So I'm going to click on it. So once I click on it, it's telling me create a rectangle. So I'll come back here. I'll take this out. Like I'm going to click this. So like make it like more like a rectangle. Then I want to bring it to the darker parts so that it will give me nice shade of this color. So I'm going to right click. So once I'm going to click on the rectangle, I'm going to right click and then come to here plugin. Now it's going to show me the recent plugin that I just used and all my saved plugin. But since I already have one plugin, no problem. So it's telling me create from selected rectangle. So I'm going to click on it. So once I click on it, just allow it, just give some seconds, and then it will just populate the lighter and darker shade. So you can see that it is actually running. So you just leave it for some seconds, and then it will just populate for you. So all you just have to do is just to zoom out so that to see how it will populate for you. Now you can see that it is populating. That it is so it has. This is the base color. This color, this particular one, this is it here, which is the big one. Now it has populated 5 colors that are lighter and from another 5 colors that are darker. Now this is what it has done for us. Now in this place, we don't even need to crack our head or even assume that, oh, this particular color is okay or not. So all I just have to do is just to come to this place. So I'm just going to, I already have 5, so I'm going to make it 5 boxes. So I'm going to make this like the base. So now for you to just come here, pick this color code, do this. So all you have to do is just to come to this place, pick. So what you do is, first of all, when you click on this rectangle, you come to this fill color, come to this place, pick this thing that look like a picker or a pen or something. It will just show you this way. and then you just go and pick the base color. So once you pick the base color, now you click on this particular one. Now instead of repeating the same process, now this is where shortcut key comes in. But if you want to learn shortcut key, don't just come here to learn how to do that. So here I'm going to use for the two. So for the two, now we're looking for that color picker. Now you can see that for color picker, you're going to use your Control and then Control C, like your Control C to get that color picker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and then I'm going to use Control C. So once I do Control C, you can see that it has already picked the color for me. But now I did not select anything, so it's not going to. I did not select anything, so I have to select something for me to put the color to make it easier for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this particular one. I will come here. So I'm going to take these two layers out. So once I click on it, I'll just click on my color picker. So I'm going to use this shade. I'm going to use this shade. I'm going to use this shade and this shade are almost the same thing. So I think I'll have to take this out. So I'll have to take this out. I'll use 40. So here I'm going to use 30. So here I'm going to use 20, and this I'm going to use 10. I'm going to use this shade of these colors are okay for me since it's mid fidelity we are working on. So I'm going to duplicate one, and this is going to be white. But since we're designing a mid-fi, I don't think we need white until when we want to design high-fi. That's when we're going to need white. So I'm going to return back my layout, and I will just have to, you can choose to delete this, or you can just choose to just dump it one place, just in case you need to change the color. It's just like when a tailor wants to make clothes, tailor will tell you, after cutting material, they'll tell you, don't throw the materials away until I'm done. Until I'm done sewing the cloth and I've given the cloth to the customer before I can throw the material away. So that is what applies to designer. I don't always delete any of the colors until I'm done with designing and the colors are okay. That's when I will now come here to delete this color, not this particular color, but this particular color, like this one. So remember, we are trying to create our color styles and font style. But in mid fidelity, what people do is they normally use they normally pick their text style from during the mid fidelity, like the text styles, the text weight, the text font, choice font, everything from during the mid fidelity. The reason why I do so is because it's more easier for me to, just come to the high fi. You're not creating a new style again. You're using what you are using on the mid fidelity. It's more easier than creating something again from scratch. So what I normally do whenever I'm designing my mid fidelity, I create my text styles and color styles from the mid fidelity. So that's what I normally do. So yeah, I'm going to just get my text. So I'm going to click here. So for this, I'm going to be using outfits. So let me just type number so I won't lose it. So I'm going to use outfits. So I'm going to come to this place that says typography. So once I click on it, I'll just type for outfits. So I'll use outfits, and I'll be using text weight of 20, and this is actually going to be medium. So I'm going to click here, pick this color, come here, and then I'll paste it here. So I'll paste it here. So 20 is actually too small, so I'll just make it 28 for it to be bolder. So you can choose, if you choose and whatever figure you're looking for is not here, you have the ability to type the number you want. So I'm going to duplicate this here like this. Click on this, come here, click on this, paste, duplicate, come here, copy, paste, just to have the color code. Come here, click on it. Come here, click on it. Paste. So once I'm done pasting, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold this and this. and then I'll right click and then make it auto layout. So to add auto layout, I'm going to use my Shift A for shortcut for auto layout. So I'm going to hold this and this, and then Shift A, this and this, Shift A, this and this, Shift A, this and this, and then make it auto layout. So I'm going to, when I make it auto, you can see that all these ones are actually at the center, but this particular one went to the right hand side to see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to the place that says auto layout, and then I'll click at the center. So once I click at the center and it doesn't align to the center, so I'm going to zoom and click on only the text. So once I click on the text, I found out that there's space here in this text. So I'll come to this place that says layout, and then I'll click on this to hawk like with the text, like hawk the text in a container. So once I click it, this is what will happen. So I've created my color style. So like my color styles. So like I said, I'll be using outfit. So I'm just going to come here to replace this particular one that says enter to outfit. So Figma gave us thousands of, I've not counted the number, but the fonts are plenty. So they are plenty, very, very plenty. So you can use this one. Depending what you are designing, but it's for people that design flyer with Figma. So you can use this in Serena or stuff like that. So we have a lot of fonts, like from A to Z. We have a lot of fonts. And you can even, if you don't want to use any of the font that Figma has provided for you, you are free to download your font. Maybe you saw a font on a particular website and then you trace to get the name of the font using a Chrome extension. You can just come here to download the font and then use. You are free, like A to Z, like the fonts are plenty. From looking at these, I believe these are more than 1,000 fonts provided by Figma, and they are still adding more. So I'll just be using outfit. Then I'll make this to be semi-bold. So for my splash, I'll be using a colored screen for my splash. So I'm just going to do. I would love us to create text styles, but we are just going to start designing. So anyone we added and we are okay with the choice, we'll just create it as a text style instantly. So I want to create, I've clicked that on it. I want to create, I know you've been seeing some local styles created like this here. I know you've been seeing something like that. So we're going to, since we're using all these 5 colors for our mid-fidelity, I'm going to create it as, not just leaving it here like this, I'm also going to create it as a local styles here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this particular color. So once I'm going to click on only this block, I will scroll down. I will come to this particular one that says apply styles and variables. So we're going to create just the local styles, not the variable here. We're going to create the local styles. So once I click on it, I'm going to come in. So ignore all these things. This is what the Figma provided for us. Remember, this is our first Figma design on this new account. So I'm going to click, once I click on this 4 dots here, I'm going to click on this plus sign. So once I click, it's going to tell me create styles. Either you create a style or you create variable. For now, we are creating styles. So I'm going to call this black. So you can add a description. What is it for? But since we don't want to add description, I'm just going to click on create styles. So once I create style, this is how it looks like. So if I click on click on library, this is how it's going to look like. So ignore all this. These are something provided by Figma. Remember, it's a new account. So if I click out on the file, like I'm not clicking on anything, you see that it has been created as part of the styles. So I'm going to come to this place. So I will quickly repeat the same process for this other 4. So you come to this place, click here, click on this plus. So I'm just going to call this gray 1, create a style. I'm going to repeat the same process for others. So now if I click out, you can see that my styles, my color styles has been created. So I don't want to just scatter it like this. So I just want to put them inside one folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the first one and then right click, and it will say either you cut the style, copy the style, duplicate the style, delete the style, edit the style, or add a new folder. So I'm not doing any touching to the style. I'm okay with the style, except when we start working and I need to edit the style. That's when I'm going to edit. So, but just what I want to do here is just to gather the whole colors inside a folder. So I'm going to add a new folder. So once I add a new folder, it's just going to ask me new folder, like change the name. But if you don't want to change the name, you can go with the new folder. But I'm going to change the name. I'm going to change to color styles, or maybe colors, since the style is already there. I'm going to say colors. So I'll click on this particular one. I'll just drag it here. I'll bring this one, I'll drag it here. Bring this one, I'll just drag it here. Then this one, I'll drag it here. So once I drag it, I can just close the style. You can see that it's now inside. You can click on this to show you to add more, but I'm not creating any color styles. I'm okay with this. So once I click, I have all my colors here. So I've created my local styles in a display format and also as a local styles. Now we are done with the colors, except we need to add more or change more. So since I'm going to make my splash to be in form of color, I'm just going to come here and then I'll select this particular one. This is how I want it. Then for textiles, now let's start with textiles. Now remember, I said I would love to create all the textiles at once, but because of time, once we are designing and we are satisfied with the size, the weight of this particular text we are using, we are going to create for textile. So what I'm going to do, I've renamed this frame as this. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'll come here. I will say authentication design, authentication UI, or authentication, whatever name you want to use. So I'm going to use more like 150. So I want it to be very bold. So I'm going to keep this name here. So I'm going to add this in a like Shift A, like in auto layout. So either you right click to add auto layout or you do Shift A. So once I do Shift A, this is how it's going to be. I'll just drag this up a little and drag this up like this. And then I'll come to this setting here. I'll just move this here. So once I move this here, I don't want it to be very close to this place. So all I have to do is just to come here, I zoom in, and then I'll move it. Now, as I'm moving this here, if I'm moving this here, now this is 17. You can see this is 17. So if I undo, you can see that here is 10, the left is 10, the right is 10, the top is 10, and the bottom is 10. But I don't want this right up to be too close to this part. So I'll just come to this place and then just make sure your cursor is this way, and then you just drag. So the more I'm dragging, you can see that the number is increasing here and also increasing in this certain part. So that is the beauty of auto layout, unlike grouping or framing. But when we start doing our interactive components, I will show you the difference between the three of them. So yeah, I'm just going to click on this. So I'm going to click on this frame, and then you can just put here, instead of frame 6, I'll just say tag. So I'm going to give it like a fee color. So I'm going to click on this dots here and then add it this way. You can choose to take this out, and then let's say we don't have fee color, you can choose to add a white fee color. But I don't want to use white. I want to use so I'm just going to come here and click on black. So our splash is going to be this way, and now we want to add our logo. Where will our logo be? Remember, we're creating a mid-fidelity. A mid-fidelity consists of text, shape, without color. The only color is just gray, white, and black. But in our own, we're not using white. The only white we are using is the background color for white. Are you guys with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for the logo, how do I want the logo to be? So the logo is just going to be in form of like this, just like oh, this is there, sorry. So I want the logo to be this way. So the logo is just going to be here. I'm going to make it like 100 over 100. The width and height is just going to be 100. And then I have my text. So I'm just going to keep it here. And then I'm going to bring my text. I'll keep it here. So my text, now you can see that it's picking the last settings for my text. So this is going to be like let's say this is going to be case food. So you can see that it's big. As I'm typing, I don't even know what I'm typing because the text is big. And so I've just come here and said, okay, I want it to be 20. So this is going to be case food delivery. So am I okay with 20? The answer is no, because it's looking too small. So I'm going to make this 20. So I prefer using even number. It's easy for me to use even number. Because it's easy for me to use even number, more like divide by 2. But using an odd number sometimes can be, confusing. I've not used odd number for a very long time. I've been using even number when I'm designing a larger screen, and when I want to design for tablet and mobile, it's easier for me to, divide it by 2 and get what I want to use. So I enjoy designing with even number. So this is what we are going to have. So pardon me, I'm going to work with a lot of auto layouts. So almost things when I'm once I want to group my elements together, like once I want to place 2 elements together, I'm going to work with auto layouts very, very well. But with time, you start understanding the useful of auto layout. But trust me, I'm going to show us the difference between framing your work, doing grouping your work, and using auto layouts for your work. So I'm going to put these two together. I'm just going to close this gap small. So if you want to close this gap, just come to this layout here. Yeah, just come to this layout. Or sometimes you just see this pink, red kind of stuff, and then you just, so once you just come here like this and then reduce. So, or you do it manually. So the choice is yours. So yeah, I'm just going to type the space between the both of them. Use 25 because 30 is more like they are now separated. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, put this way. So once I put it this way, I'll come to this position, make sure that it is aligned to the center. So once it's aligned to the center, it's looking as if it's done, but I'm going to preview to see how it looks like. So I'm going to click on this place and come to this side and say preview, not present. Preview is like here. Now you can see that I did not even add a phone mockup, and automatically it added a phone mockup for me. So I'm going to, if I don't want to use this particular phone frame, I can come to this place, click on prototype. Remember, I'm not clicking anything here. Click on prototype. Click on prototype, and then it gave me iPhone XR, which is like the which is like this. So it's giving me iPhone XR. So I don't want to use iPhone XR. I want to use iPhone 11 Pro. But make sure you're using. No, you can't just select any kind of frame of your choice or any kind of phone of your choice. Make sure that as you're selecting that kind of phone, remember it must be of the same frame you use. Remember we use let me come back to design. Remember we are using the width is 375 and the height is 812. So if you are using any kind of phone, make sure, let me click out. Make sure you are selecting 375 times 182. You can't just select 414 because it's iPhone 11 Pro Max and you're using the frame, for example, the frame that Figma gave you is iPhone 13, and you come here because you're using iPhone 13 mini, you just automatically click on this iPhone 13. It's not going to work. So forget what they wrote here. All they wrote here is just like how you're going to present and look at it. But when you want to select the kind of phone, so if I come back to my design, when you want to select the kind of phone, when you click on your frame, ignore the right top. What you need to focus on is this number, like the width and the height. Make sure you focus on the width and the height. Then I'm going to click out, and then I'll click to prototype, and then I'll select iPhone. I will select iPhone 11 Pro. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, ma.
Okay. So I'm going to use iPhone 11 Pro, which is 375 times 812, or iPhone X, which is 375 times 812, or iPhone 8 will give you the width, but the height is not going to give you so. So I'll use iPhone 11. So I'm going to use iPhone 11. Do you want it to be gold, silver, blah, blah, blah? So I'm going to use gold. So I don't want to, this is how it's going to look like. But no, I want it to be this way. Do I want this background color doesn't matter. So I'm just going to come back here. So I'm going to click on my screen here. And then I'm going to click on this drop down here. So once I click on this drop down, so this present will take you to a new page. But I just want it to be displayed here. So I'm going to click on preview and then it comes up. Now this is how it's going to look like, which is actually okay. So I love how this is actually center aligned, it's centered. But what if you take this up a little bit? I think this is better. So this is better this way, which is okay. So the next thing I'm going to design, so instead of creating a new frame, so I'll just have to duplicate. So once I duplicate, now the next screen we want to design is the onboarding screen. So remember we designed the onboarding screen in our first class. So I'm going to open our flowchart. I'm going to open our flowchart so that we'll work together with our flowchart. So I'm going to go back here. So we need to work with our flowchart. So I'm going to go back here. So I duplicated this screen. So I'm going to go to our flowchart. So our flowchart, I did our flowchart with my other account. So I'm going to open that account. Okay, I think I have access to the flowchart here. I have access with this account. So just give me a second. Let me open our flowchart so that we'll look at our flowchart and then design the mid-fidelity screen. Just give me some minutes. Okay, so let's continue. Let's design the authentication before the flowchart will open, so that we'll look at the flowchart and then design the mid-field. So I'll tell you what part, like we are looking at the flowchart, you know that I'm working on this particular screen, I'm working on this particular screen, I'm working on this, not screen, shape, I'm working on this particular shape, I'm working on this particular shape. So you know that you understand how the flowchart look like. You know that okay, these are the screens that need to be designed, these are shapes that then doesn't need to be designed. Now whenever you come to this Figma file, remember I don't have access to edit on this file. So you see this the way it is, just don't click on any button. So I'm going to go to the flowchart here. This is the flowchart. Please give me a second. Okay, sorry about that silence. Okay, so now this is the flowchart. Remember we worked on the download app, which is the Splash. Either you download or the splash, it's still the same thing. Now we want to work on the onboarding screen 1, onboarding screen 2, and onboarding screen 3. And then work on the get started screen that will ask you to either log in or sign up. So let's go back to our design. So we are going to quickly design the onboarding screen 1. So what I'm going to do is I'll just come to this place. I'm using white, so I'm going to take this out and then return this to white. Now, once I return this to white, I'm just going to take this out. I'm going to, take it out from auto layout. So to take it out from auto layout, what I use is, I don't know for Windows, but for Mac, if you want to take something out from auto layout, what I normally do, I use my command and delete at the same time, and then I'll remove it from auto layout. But I believe, let me undo that. But I believe there should be like, let me undo. But I believe there should be a way.
For Windows is always control. We don't have command in Windows. Windows is always control.
But I believe there should be a way you can ungroup it. So I think it's either you ungroup or you remove from auto layout. Yes. So once you remove from auto layout, it just become frame. But I don't want to remove, like I don't want to put it in frame like this. I don't want to put it in frame. Like I want to separate the both of them out, stand on its own. So what I normally do, I use command and then delete, and it's off. Like it will stand on its own. This is going to stand on its own, and this is going to stand on its own. So remember, if you're doing anything here, you look at your layouts here. Get. So I want to design onboarding screen 1. So I'm going to get our status bar. So I'm going to go to Figma community to get the status bar. So I'm going to more like duplicate this page. So I'm going to duplicate this page. So I'll be designing why it's just load. So I'm going to, get my status bar, but I will start designing other things why it's actually loading. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to design my onboarding screen. Remember we talked about alignment, so I'm going to use my grid. So I'll just scroll down before export. There's something called layout grid. I'll click on the plus sign. So once I click on the plus sign, this setting will come out and this will be like this. So I'm going to select for this. So for mobile, what I normally use for mobile, I normally use 6 for mobile. I use the default color and I always use the default type that it applies. And then for margin, I'm going to use 30. So I'll use 30 and the gutter is 20. So you can choose to use 30. This is how it's going to look like. Remember we talked about margin, gutter, we talked about grid when we did our body. If you've not watched it, you can just go back and watch it to understand more of this grid system. So this is what I have. I'm just going to click on this sign here and then I will apply. Now you can see that the system Figma will just give you the same local styles it gave us when we try to create color, because this is what the entire system already have, the options they are giving us. But we don't want to use this. I want to create a new one. This is more like a material design kit, but I don't want to use this one. I want to create a new one for this, so you know how to create it from scratch. So I'm going to click on this plus sign and then I'll call this maybe mobile grid. So once I click mobile grid, so what I did was I just click on enter or create style. Automatically it just creates a new one. I don't know. I found out that this is their new pattern. Before it has like it has the eye icon where you just have to turn off the eye like this. You get, but this time around it's either you click on remove or the stanch. Before it has eye icon where you just have to close it, do all that thing. But this time around it has this that you have to either or now see, this is where the eye icon is. But if before it has that eye icon inside, but since we are not going, but you already have it as a local style. If you create, you already have it as a local style. So but this new pattern is kind of I don't know, it's not okay for me. It's more like I will have to create, I will have to remove, I'll now start doing like this. So once I'm done, now I highlight everything and then pick my local styles. So it's more like I cannot turn it off. I must either remove it before I can turn it off, which is more like anti-clockwise something for me. It did not balance well for me. So I'm going to quickly so let's see if this is still loading. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the file. This is one difficult thing about using the Chrome browser. But if you're using the desktop, you have the ability to just go back to your dashboard, open multiple pages. That is one sweet thing about the so I already have it here. That is one sweet thing about the desktop app. But I'll just open this in a new tab, and then I'll just save this here. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. So let's quickly design the onboarding screen. So I'm just going to take this, I'll add it here in form of my image. So I'm going to add it here. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to use this scale. So once I click on this scale, you can see that this setting here automatically change. It's either you come here to type whatever number you want to type and click on enter, and then adjust, or you just drag it this way. So when you drag it this way, this size is going to be. But if you don't use scale and you just use the move T, you're not going to get it very well. You can see that the width and the height are not the same because you did not use scale. You just that you start adjusting like this, which is more like you're trying to stress yourself. You can actually use your move key, your move tool. You can use this move, but you have to hold your shift to make it very well. But you have to use your shift to make it align very well. But this time around, I'm going to use scale. So using scale is like letter K. Just click on letter K. It's going to be this way. So what I'm going to use, I will use 300 here. Is going to be. So I'm going to turn off this, and then when I turn it off, now because we did not use scale, that already scattered the height and width of the box. So I'll just come here and then I'll use 300. Now I'm going to place it to the center. This thing it doesn't apply like that too. There are sometimes if you use this method, you will just overstretch your image. So the best way, it can only work for shape, but when it comes to images, when it comes to you trying to adjust images or SVG icons or icons itself, I would advise you to use scale. Don't just assume and type it here, type here. It's not compulsory. Sometimes some images are not going to tell you the height and the width is going to be together. Remember what we did in our onboarding screen. Remember, sometimes they are not coming. Sometimes the height is longer than the width. Sometimes the width is longer, it has higher number than the height. So the best thing to do when it comes to icon, SVGs, and images, just use your scale to adjust them. The best thing is just when you place it there, use your scale and adjust. When you use your scale, just use your scale to adjust it. It's more better that way. But if you have an image that is telling you to, that is giving you the same number in the width and the height, go ahead and type it here. But if it's not giving the same width and height, the best thing to use is to use icon, is to use scale for it. So yeah, I'm going to use 300, 300. So 300, 300. I'm going to align to the center, and then I'll have to take this, but now I'll change the color. So what I'm going to do for you now, because we've not created local styles here, so there's no way. There's no local styles. These are local styles that are recommended by Material Design Kit. But I don't want to use all this one. I want to create my own. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color. So I'll come here and then I will change the color. So once I change the color, so this is going to be like food choice. So this is going to be good food choice. So I'm just going to write good food choice or good rest. Okay, let's put good restaurants. This is what I have. So I'll be using 26. So it seems 26 is okay. 26 is actually okay. So I'll be using 26 here, and then I'll duplicate this, and then I'll change this to regular, and I'll use 18 here, and then I'll change this color to gray. So I'm going to use my dummy text to just fill it up here. So let's see if this has actually loaded. So I'll come to the component here. So once I come to the component here, So I'm going to pick, since I'm designing for a white background, I'm going to pick this. I'll just come here, copy, and come to here, and then paste it. So once I paste it, it's actually going to be very longer than this here. You can see it's very long, very long. So all I have to do is I'll just come to this place, adjust it here, and adjust it here, and then I'll use my scale. Now the frame size I'm using is 375. Then I'll close this scale here. I'll come back here and adjust it to the here and here. Automatically it just fits. Now I'm going to teach you how to do component like this. If I want to use that color, this is it. But I'm going to teach you when we start doing interactive component. I'll teach you how to do interactive, where you just have to create something again. Just make them interactive components and just come here to pick it. I'm going to show you for buttons, input field. You're going to learn it. Yeah, when we start, I think it should be the next class. It should be the next class or next class. I'm going to show you how to do that. So now I'm going to take this out. So I'm going to take this out. It's showing you purple color. So I'm going to take it out for being purple color. So I'm going to click on this to start. So when I click, this is how it's going to look like. So let's continue with it. So I want to get some dummy text for this. So we'll have to create a plugin for that. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'll look for content 3. So once I click, now this is how it's going to look like. So I'm going to save it, and I'm also going to run it. So we already did this in our first class. So I'm going to rush up this part. So, but if you've not watched it, you have to go back and watch it to, know how to do this part. So I'm just going to pick this particular one, and then I'll close it. So I'm going to pick this. So you can see that the content is even long. So I'm just going to come here, drag it inside. Come here, drag it inside. Come here, and then go inside. So this is actually too much. So, and I'm going to come from this place. I'm going to cut it from here. So I think this is okay for me. But another thing is too. So if I click on this frame and turn off the layout grid, this is actually too bright for me. So I'm going to use grade 2. And I want this text to align to the center. So I'm going to come here, align to the center. I'm going to hold this 2, and then I'll do it auto layout. So making it auto layout, I'll come here and then position it at the center. I'll make sure that this particular text hugs itself. So, and then, so that I'll make everything to be at the center. Now the space between this one and this one is 15. So you can set it here. So I'll just come here to type 10, or you can just come to adjust it here. So whichever way you want to do it. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I don't know if others.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, so we are going to drag this up here. So we're going to turn on our grid. So I'm going to create my button. So I want to create the button. So the button, I'm just going to, bring this text, or just duplicate it to this particular frame here. So this is going to be button. This is going to be button. So you can choose to say next. So remember, we are creating a mid-fidelity. Mid-fidelity is like you're going to use the right font you want to. But you're not adding image, you're not adding icon. You can add icon, but you're not adding icon. But just to make our mid-field easier for us, we are going to add some certain things that we need, but we're not going to add image or color choice again. But when we're doing the high fidelity, you add the choice of color. So this is going to be my button. So I'll be using 18, but semi-bold. I'm going to use semi-bold. Semi-bold is looking too much, so I'll use medium. So let's use medium, and then I'm going to right click and then make it auto layout. So remember, I said the size size of your thumb, the size of a thumb, not your own thumb, the size of your user's thumb should be between 45 to 60. So you can use 46, 47, 45, you can use 59, you can use 60. But remember, I love playing around with even number. So I'll be using 15. So, but the width doesn't matter, but the height matters a lot. So for the width, I'll just be using 100. Okay, let's just use 100 for the width. So I'll use 100 for the height, I will use 50. So I'm just going to come here and then give it a free color. So I'm going to come here and then give it a free color. So I'm going to use this shade of gray and I'm going to move. Okay, now both of them are even blend together. So I'm going to double click and click the font and then make it white. So since we don't have white, I'm going to create white. Since we don't have white, I'm going to create white. So for white, I'll be using pure white, which is the FFF. FFFFF white. So if I click out, you see that no one will know that there's color here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add it a stroke. So I'm going to click and then add a stroke of 4. Then reduce it to maybe 0.5. So I'm just going to type FFF 6F. Color code are always 6. So just to show that there's white color here. So I'm just going to come here, I'm going to click, and then the text is going to be pure white. So my text is going to be pure white. So okay, I've not added it as then a local style, so I'm just going to add it quickly now. So I'm going to click out. So now we want to create that carousel. So I'm just going to come here and click on it. So I'm going to use 10 here, and I'm going to use 10 here.
And your screen is not showing.
I think it's a network, maybe.
So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my carousel here. So I'm going to use, let's use 12. 10 is looking too small. So I'm going to duplicate it here this way, this way. So I'm going to hold the 3, and then I'll make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, let's preview and see how let's see how it is. Is it too tiny? Is it too small? Is it too big? Let's preview and see. Okay, so why is loading? Let's okay. I think this is better, but these are too close. Yeah, this is better, but these are too close. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come here or click on this number. So I'll use 7. Yeah, I think 7 is okay. But it's looking tiny. So I'm just going to click the 3 of them using my shift, and then I'll make it 15. So make it 15, yeah. So the first one is actually going to be the darker color. Sorry, give me a second. Then I want to change. Remember, we're using, if you're using this particular color for our button, if you're using this particular shade of gray, so I'm using gray 2. So this is going to be gray 2. So this is going to be like grade 4. Remember we talked about consistency. So this is going to be grade 4, yeah? So this is okay. So what I'm just going to do now, I'm going to quickly, duplicate this part. So just come to this place and then duplicate. So we can later change the text, but for now I'm just going to duplicate and, because of time, I'm just going to move this here. So now we are done with the onboarding screen one. The next screen we're going to design is the get started screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and then duplicate this. So this is going to be get started screen. So this is going to be get started, but the text is going to be get started, not next. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. I don't need this. I'm going to, expand this here. So I'm going to duplicate this here. So I'm going to, this is going to be like more of welcome. So this is going to be get started. Or okay, let's use the word sign up. And let's use the word here, login. So for my login, I want my login to have more like primary and I want this to be secondary. So I'll be using grade 2 for this and then I'll be using grade 3 for this. So I'm going to click on this get started screen, then I'll turn it off. So this is how I want my get started screen to look like. More like you're welcoming the user, you're telling the user to either they should sign up. This is the screen I'm designing. This is get started screen. So the next screen I'm going to design is going to be the sign up screen. So I'm going to just take this up a little bit. So just like so that this will just stand neatly on its own. So the next screen I'm going to design is going to be the sign up screen. So I'm going to bring this screen down here. So I'm going to bring this screen down here. So don't forget to always rename your frame so that it's easier for somebody to know what screen is that. Now you can see that my splash is here, the body is here. So I'm just going to click on this one. So I'm going to turn it off. So I'm going to design, this is going to be sign off screen. So this is going to be the sign up screen. So let's quickly design the sign up screen. So how do you want your sign up screen to look like? How do you want it to design? Remember, you're not designing for it. I'm just going to leave this particular button. So remember, we're not designing. Okay, I'm going to leave this text. So remember, we're not designing our design from our head. We are, getting inspiration. So how do you want your sign up screen to look like? So let's look at full app sign up screen. Remember, you as a designer always get inspiration. Always get an inspiration for your design. Don't just assume. Get inspiration for nice UI design. So how do you want your UI screen to look like? So I just want my design to look just simple, maybe something like this, but I'm not going to use this dash input field. I'm going to use the normal box input field. So I just want my input field to be very simple with their details in it, but I'm not going to use this input. Okay, let's look at this. This is actually nice. The let me see if I can open it bigger in. Okay, this is not big, but this is blur. So I'm going to design the screen like this. I'm going to have it not. I'm not going to add any icon, but I love how it's like this. Like the information is just at the center, and you can, this is a login screen. So this is this is, to me, this is a bad UX. To me, this is a bad UX. If you say register here, and why are you saying login here? It should be like a welcome. Now, the write-up said create your new account, and then you're telling me to log in there. So this is like the top information is saying create an account as a new user, and the button is telling me to log in as an old user. So this is a bad UX, but we are not focusing on the bad UX. What we are focusing is just picking the information. Maybe I want my input field to be like this. I want my design to have social media icons here, and then I'll go back to my design. Then my design, I'm going to come here. I'm going to create input field. So I'm going to create an input field. So I'm going to, remember, I'm using 50 for my button. I'm also going to use 50 for 50 as height, not the width. The width doesn't matter, but it is the height. But I'm going to use 50 for my button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to click on rectangle. So I'll use 50. So once I use 50, I'm just going to place these two. I'm just going to move. So I'm going to move this welcome at the top and this at the bottom. So I'll just click on this pink something. I just drag it this way to just pink. So let's edit this one before we focus on the input field. So I'm going to turn on my layout page. So I'm going to say register. So this is going to be like register, and this is going to be like create your new account. Create a new account. So if you have any other text you want to add, no problem. But I think I'm just okay with this simple information here. So this is going to be at the top here. So I'm going to carry my input field. I'm going to drag this input field here. So I'm going to align to the center and then drag it this way. So I'm going to bring this to the bottom of my layout. So I'll be using for MPP, I'll be using grade 4. Let's turn off this and see how the grade 4 is. Okay, so I think I'm okay with this since it's a fidelity, and I just want consistency. So I'm just going to come to this place here. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Now remember, we've not created a text style. We've not created a text style, but you can see that I use the same text style. I use I use 26 here, 26 here, and 26 on the welcome. But then this one I use 18, 18, 18. So you just create the text type that same way, just to repeat it. So I'm just going to quickly create a text type for this. So I'm just going to call this like heading 1. So I'm going to call this like big body text. So you can choose to give it a name that you will quickly remember. So this is going to be like big body text, big body text regular. R means regular. So I'm just going to come here. To make my work easier, I'm just going to click on all of them at the same time. So I'm just going to click on all of them at the same time and select this. I'm also going to hold this, and this. So what I'm going to do, you can see that it just scattered here. So I'm just going to leave it this way. When I add other cells, I'm going to separate the body text from the heading. So I'm just going to leave it that way. I'll just don't come to this place and imply the same thing I did for that, just to be, consistency of the text style. So once you create this text style, don't forget to add them in your, if you don't want to add for colors here. Like now, I will use this one now for colors. So for text style, I will just come to this place. So I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to take this out. So once I take this out, I'll just, come to this place, click on text here. So once I click on text here, I'm just going to type maybe heading 1. So once I type on heading 1, I'll just keep it this way. I'll just come here, create this like this. Just create it this way, and then duplicate this one here, and then I'll call it big body text. Don't forget to big body text. Just something that you remember, and then this is regular. So I'm just going to add the write up, so this is going to be like big body text. So once I'm done typing, I'll just come here to select. So I'm just going to keep them here. So just separate the body text from the headings. So this is just going to be this way. So the next thing I'm going to do, like now, let's continue with our design. So I'm just going to duplicate this one. So I'm going to duplicate this here. I'm going to hold this. I'm going to select this. So big body using 18 here might be too big. So this is going to be like full name. This is going to be full name. So I am using 18 here is much. And now this is where now remember we did not delete that gray color. Now you can see that this color I'm using here is actually too it's okay, but to me for the input field is looking too darker. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to come to this place. Now you can see that why is always not to delete that stuff. So I can just come to this place. So this is like the 10% of it. This is more like, I think this is the 10%, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is the 10. So what I'm going to do, if I needed a lighter color of the 10%, so this is what I normally do. So my own pattern is just, I reduce it by 5. Opacity is 5. I pick the color, and then I'll get the complete shade of it. So this is the color code for it, and then I paste it here. So I'm going to repeat what I did. So this is the color gray. This is the full color, which is the 100%. Or another way is you can come to this place, reduce the opacity like this, pick the color. So once you pick the color, you've gotten the color. So the color code is going to be E5, 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 E5. Then you pick it. So I'm going to use this color. which is light. But if it's too bright, another way is you can come here and reduce it like this, or reduce it like this. So I now have E7, E7, E7. So whichever way that works for you is okay. So I'm going to come to this, I'll click, oh sorry, I'm going to change this color now. Remember, once you are done with that, you need to add, once you are done with that, you need to add it as a color styles. Don't forget to. So going to come here, I'll just paste this color. So because I'm not adding it as a color style, I'll just do copy and paste of the color code. Remember, I'm trying to make up because of time. So the next thing is going to be here. I'm going to put this here. So this full name, remember I used 18. 18 is actually looking so big. So I'm going to come to this particular one here. So I'm going to come, remember this is like a big body text, regular. So I'm going to come here and then use 16. 16 is actually okay for me because that 18 is looking too big. So I'm going to use 18 here. So sorry, 16. I'm going to take this out and then return it to 16. So once I use 16, this is how it's just going to be 2 inches, smaller. So and then I'm going to add it as a text type. So let me just quickly add this as a text type. So this is going to be like body text R. R means regular. So if you use a medium size, you use medium, add M. But if it's a regular, you add R. So that's how I normally do my own. But you can make it whatever pattern you want to use. So remember that then. So what I'm going to do now is change this to So I'm going to change this to this, and remember there's a text hiding under there. So just come to this layer here to look for it. So I'm going to click on this full name, which is easier for me to trace it. I'll just click on this, and then I'll use my bracket key to bring them up, or you just move it from this side, or use your bracket to bring it up. So yeah, I'm going to use 12. So I'm going to come back to this place. So I'm going to use 12. 12 is actually okay. So I'll use 12. This is going to be small. So this is going to be small. So 14 is going to be medium. 10 is going to be the smallest. 8 is going to be tiny, but I don't think we're going to use 8. I don't think we're going to use 8, but we're going to use 10. So this is going to be 12. So I'm going to come here to 12. We're going to use 14, yes. So this is going to be 12. So I'm just quickly, add it. So this is going to be small body text. So this is why I said I prefer using even number for my text styles. It's more easier for me, and it helped me divide by 2 or -2 or +2. It's easier for me that way. So this is going to be big body text R regular. Yeah. So I'm just going to come to this place, and then I'll click this to be 12. Yeah. So if I use 12, this is how it's going to look like. So I don't want to use grade 2, so I'm going to use the I'll use the 3, so that you need to make our color. So this is going to be like enter capital letter E. Enter your full name, or please enter your full name, or enter your full name, just more like an instruction. So I'm going to hold these two and then make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, the it's going to go at the center. So I'm going to move it to this flat here, which is 12. If I want to increase it, I can just make it, yeah. But I think I'll be using that 12, which is okay for me. So I'm just going to hold these two, and then I'll make sure that the size of this my input field is the same size of my button, or you can just turn on your layout grid and then adjust it. But thank goodness it's already adjusted, because we did it that first time. So I'm going to hold these two together and then make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, we've done our input field, Now you can see that rectangle has automatically turned to, the rectangle is nowhere to be found because it has already automatically turned into auto layout. So I'm going to duplicate this here and then quickly change this to email. So this is going to be email address. So don't put email or put address, because if you put address, are you telling them to enter their residential address or email address? So this is going to be like enter your email address. Now you can see what happened here. You can see what happened here. So I'm going to move this align to the left and then put this straight like this. So I'm going to hold this and then bring it down like this. Yeah. So this is going to be phone number. I started with capital letter. So I'm going to continue that pattern. So this is enter your phone number. So if it's something that other country is going to use, you know how you're going to add other country code. But since it's something that the whole Nigerians are going to use, so we're just going to put it this way. Start with your 080, 090, 070 and all. So the next thing we're going to, the next thing we're going to design, the next MP we are going to do, create, is going to be creation of password. I don't think you're missing out anything. So it's going to be creation of password. But if you don't want to add creation of password, no problem. But me, I want to add creation of password here. So I'm going to do, I don't want my landing page to be too long. So I'm going to add creation of password here. So I'm going to add creation of password, and this is going to be like create your password, not enter your password, but create your password. So this is going to be create a new password. So I want to add the ability for users to hide their password when they are creating or see what they are typing. Now, how do I get an icon that I'm going to add here? So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to turn it off. So I need icon for this. So I'm going to use icon in my mid-fidelity. The only thing I'm not going to use is images and color. For my mid-fidelity, I'm going to use it this way. So I'm going to use icon in my mid-fidelity. I'm just going to expand this a little bit here. I'm going to, let me finish with creating or positioning how the structure will look like before going to get the icon. So I'm going to come to my text here. I'll just click on T and type here. And then I'll click on, now this is where I need 14. So I'm going to say already have a pass. Sorry, already have an, this have should be a small letter. Already have an account. Yeah. So this is going to be already have an account. It should be logged in. Now, I don't want the text to just be this way. So I want my text to, to be bold. So I'm using 16. So I'm going to create 16 medium. This is, remember, this is regular because I want the login to stand out, and then this should just be like a text. The login should be clickable. So I'm going to come back to this place. I'm going to duplicate this here. So I'm going to duplicate this. So we already know that this is 16. We already know this is 16. But if you are somebody that cannot remember that this is 16, you can just come here and type, let's say like this. You type something like this. You say 18 pixels. You come here, you type 16 pixels, so you can remember. But you can come here and type 16 pixels. So this is going to be medium. But if it's somebody that you actually don't know what you need, or you want somebody to, or you want your information to be very, very clear on your text type to be very clear, you can just type it 16, and so that somebody will understand. Oh, you actually use 16 on this, or you use 14 on this. So I'm going to use 16. I'll quickly set create 16 phone. So this is going to be body text M. Yeah. So this is going to be body text M. So I'm going to come back to this place, or you can add, if you don't want to add 16 here, you can come here too. Let's say, let me click out. You can come here now, Another pattern is you can come here. Let's just walk around with this. You can come here and click on this edit, and then you come here and type 26 pixels, small letter. So you can just come here and click enter. You come here, you edit style. So this is 18, so you put 18 px. You come here, you put 16. So depending how you just want the information of your data text style to look like. Yes, you can do it in every way you want to do it, but I'm just showing you different options for you to try out. So this is going to be this is supposed to be, oh my god, I made a mistake. This is 16 and this is 12. So this is going to be 12. So this is going to be 12. So you can just do it this way. So whenever somebody comes on the file, instead of going through here, the person can just look at this place. Instead of looking at this place, the person can just go through this place. The choice is yours. But whichever way works perfect. So let's continue before we get an icon. So we've created for 16 medium. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these ones first. I'm going to reduce the color to gray 4. Yeah, I'm going to use gray 4, and then I'm going to use black for this, and I'm going to use medium for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click out. I'll take this medium to be under this one. So I'll take it to be like 16 should be together. So this is what I have. So this is 16. So I'm just going to hold these two and then drag it this way. So I'm going to duplicate this and bring it here. Then I'll just going to delete this part. This gray 4 is looking too tiny, like too close to white. So I'll use gray 3. Yeah. So here I'm going to use up, like up. Place it at the center. Now I'm going to use my pen. I'm going to turn on layered grid first, and then I'm going to use my pen tool. So I'll just draw a straight line here, holding my shift to here. Click on this, and then I'll duplicate it, and then bring it this way. So I'm going to hold the 3 of them, and then I'll align it vertical center, and then I'll tidy it up so that the space between both of them will be okay. So I'm going to distribute, horizontal. I'm going to distribute horizontal so that the space between them is going to be okay, and then I can put it auto layout. So if I put it auto layout, I'm going to align to 7. So the space between each of them is now 17. So which is okay for me, and then I'll change the color to be gray 3, and this is going to be gray. So now this space is actually this button. You can make it curvy if you want to, but I think I'm okay with. So you can make it like curve shape, like round like this, instead of having that sharp edge. So this is what I have. Now we are done with the sign up page. So let's go and get our icon for this design. So I'm going to get my icon. So I need icon like remember I said my mid-fidelity is going to have icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have icons like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, depending how you want to add your icon. So I'm just going to come to so I don't have the icons saved. So I'm going to come here to look for iconify. Now this is how Iconify look like. It has so many icon sets. It has many icon sets. Like, is it like, how am I going to say? This is like for those of us that normally buy sweets. For those of us that normally buy a packet of sweets, this is like a packet of icon, but inside the packet of icon, there are different collection of icon. Just like a packet of sweets. When you buy a packet of sweets, if it's 100 sweets that are inside, so each sweet, each stick of sweets you bring is a collection on its own. So that's how icon look like. So what I'm going to use, I will use feather icon. So for feather icon, this is like a search icon for all the particular icon. But for here, this is just icon for only particular feather icon. So for feather icon, I will look for Google. I will look for Google. So this is what I have. I'll just drag it and put it here. Before you drag and keep, make sure you're not clicking on anything at all. If you're clicking on something, imagine you're clicking on something, you just enter there and you start looking for it. So just keep it here. So the next thing I'm going to use Facebook. So I'll just drag it and put it here. Remember, I'm not using any color. So I have Facebook. So the next thing I'm going to use is Twitter, which is X. Okay, let's use Apple. They don't have Apple. So let's use Instagram. I'm thinking, where is it? Okay. So I think I'm okay with this. So I'm just going to highlight the three. Now I don't click on it. Now let me tell you something about icon. If you click on only this one, like if you click on only this now, and let's say you can icon like this, and you did not click on this frame here and you drag it like this, you've messed it up. You've actually messed up the icon. Now you can see that you're working with only the vector while the frame is there. So to make this work easier for you for icon, to make this easier for you, so what you do is immediately you drop the icon, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to group them. Control G, Command G, just group it. So you come here, you highlight. So when you highlight it, make sure that you actually click on this frame here and then you group it. So, but somebody that know how to play around with it, you can don't bother yourself not grouping it. But for you not to make that mistake of dragging just the vector out away from the frame, so it's better for you to just group it. So I'll be using this frame size. I'll be using this size. So I'm just going to select it like this and then add it auto layout. So once I add auto layout, it's going to align, and then I'll come here and then make it this way. So once I make it this way, I'm just going to drag it this way like this. So I'm just going to bring it inside here. Now I notice that this particular icon is looking smaller. So I'm just going to click on it and see 24, 24, 24. Yeah, I think it's okay. But if I want to make it a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to click on the 3 frame here from the layers. I'm just going to click on the 3 frame and then I'll use my scale. So I'll just come to this place and say, okay. Now I'm not clicking on the width, I'm clicking on the height. So once I click on the height and say, okay, let's make it 28, and automatically it will just adjust. But if you play around with the width, you just scatter it, because remember, I've already done it auto layout before I'm playing around with it. So this is what I have. So I'm just going to come to this place. Let me drag it up a bit more. And then I'm going to put space between both of them, should be like 30. So I'm just going to drag this here, and then I'll adjust to the center. So I'm going to change the color to my brand color. So this is going to be this way. So let's go back to the image. So this is how it's going to, or continue. Okay, so this is going to be like continue with. So let's go back to the design and then say, or anyone. So you can just, let's say, continue. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this. I'll come to this place. I'll put fill container here. I'll come to this one. I will say fill container. So I'm going to click on this as a whole, come to this place, and then I'll put it in Alt, and then I will come to this place and then drag it this way. So once I drag it this is how it's going to look like. And then I'm going to reduce the space for this. So the space between these guys, I'm just going to the space between these guys, I'm just going to let's give it number and see. Now you can see that now you can see that I return it back to the number. It automatically it has adjusted. That's the sweetness about auto layout. But we are going to go deep into auto layout, and then I will teach you how to do it very, very well. So this is what I have. Continue it, and then you have this. So I'm going to move this button here. I'm going to move this here. So now it's time for us to align. Sorry, it's time for us to adjust this so that the space, like the space between this and this, would be the same. Now you can see that this and this is 29. This and this is not aligned very well. So I'm going to hold the 5 of them. And then I'm going to tidy up. So once I click on tidy up, this is how it's going to look like. So once it's like this, I'm just going to come to this place. So I'm just going to come here and then just play around with it to adjust it very well. You want the space to be 30, so I'll use 30 for mine. So this is okay. Now we've created a sign-up page. Now you can see that we've created a sign-up page. And remember that we adjusted this our page. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these guys up a little, not to make our sign-up page to look longer. So I'm going to hold this and then reduce it like this. So this is what we have. So I'm going to give this like a few. So now I want this particular, because of the height is actually longer than our phone frame. So I want, if I scroll my landing page, these guys should not move around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a box, like I'm going to put it outside. So the box, since I'm using 375 for it, I'm going to add it a thick color of white. So I'm going to add it a thick color of white. So I think that my box entered inside. So let me take it out. So this is my box now. So I want, if I scroll, remember this, our landing page, our sign up page is long. It's now longer than our full frame. I want, if I scroll, to go to this bottom part. I don't want this time and this register screen to scroll away. Now this is what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. Now you can see that it's actually longer now. And if I scroll, you can see that my time and this register are moving away. Now I don't want that to happen. I don't want this to happen. I want only these guys should scroll. So what am I going to do? I'm going to create something like a box. Now I'm going to create this rectangle. I'm going to bring it inside here. So I'm going to place it this way. So I normally use rectangle to just get the right measurement. So I'll return the rectangle, or like I'll move the rectangle to the down part. So you can just use another color. You can just use another color just to see your rectangle. When you are done, you can change it to white. So I'm going to hold this, and I'm going to hold this, and then I'll make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, I'm going to hold my rectangle. So I'm going to bring this rectangle. I want it to get to this point here. So I'll now hold these two that I made auto layout, and then I'll now make it auto layout together. So once I make it auto layout, this is how it's going to look like. This is where you now have to return the color back to white. You now return it back to white. So once I return it back to white, now I can now change it like this. Maybe you can give it a name. This is why it's always good to rename your, always name every element so that it will be easy for you to know which one is which one. So I'm going to call this like head. So I'm going to say this is going to be head. Then I'll come to this prototype. Remember, I still click on this particular stuff. I want to make it only these guys to scroll. I don't want this to scroll away. So I'm going to come to this prototype here. Now I'm going to click on this position and I'm going to make it fix, stay in one place, like stay in a place. And then I'll come back to my design and then click on my prototype. So once I click on my prototype now, if I scroll, you can see that it's just under. Now, even if I take these guys off, like if I take this guy off a bit, remember it's 0. So if I take this guy off a bit this way, so if I take this guy off a bit this way, and I click this way, and you can see that. So I just want, the former way I made it was this. The former way I made it was this other way. If this guy scroll, it's always close. If I scroll it, it's just like close. I don't want something like this to occur. So I'm just going to take this off, yeah, a bit. So I'm going to just, see how it looks like. So if I scroll my landing page, this is how it looks like. Okay. So we've done this one. The next one we are going to design is going to be the OTP screen. So I'm just going to, duplicate. So once I duplicate, I'm just going to, remove this from auto layout. Remember, removing from auto. If you don't remove from auto layout and you don't remove on fixed position, everything will just scatter and you start wondering why this one is working and that one is not working. So I'm going to return back to design and I'll remove this from auto layout. So this is going to stand on its own. So what we just need is OTP code. So I'm just going to leave this. So let's just take the first one and delete all these ones. We don't need all these ones. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. So I'm just going to delete it. So this is what we need. So I'm just going to bring this guy here, take it small out, like shift it small. So we can just run small prototype for it. So I'm going to hold this and this. We're going to bring it down a little bit. So this is going to be like verify phone number for verification. So this is going to be verification, and this is going to be like enter, OTP has been sent to your email, enter the correct OTP, stuff like that. Enter the OTP sent to your phone number. So if you want to, let's say, let me type just a random phone number. So let's say this is what we have, and let's say this is like the phone number. The system will tell you this is the number I'm sending the OTP to. If you want to edit, then you now have to do. So I'm just going to do some small editing here. So this is going to be like edit. Now you can see how auto layout is. I'm working, and this is how I just duplicate because it's inside auto layout. It automatically brought it down for me. So I'm going to make this medium 16. I'm going to use my button color, which is the green one. I'm just going to hold my control and then I'll drag it this way. So you can see that my cursor has actually changed. It has changed. So this is going to be now more like edit the phone number if it's not correct. So I'm going to underline this text. So this is for any user that sees it will say, okay, this is actually a text link, and if this phone number I input is not correct, I can click and then it will take me to the sign up page and then I will edit the phone number. So yeah, I'm just going to, since we've already made this in auto layout, so I'm just going to pick the width. So I have 315. So 315, let's say OTP code is this. I'm just going to change this text to be 0. So I'm going to hug the text. So I'm just going to reduce this here. So I don't need this. I don't need this guy at the top. So I'm going to delete this guy. I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to hold this and, make it OTP. Some OTP are 5, some OTP are 6, some OTP are um, um, 4. So I'm just going to use 60 here. So I'm going to place this text at the center. So I'm just going to place this text here at the center. So I'll just come here and click center align. And then I'm going to, duplicate this here. So I can just hold these two together and then make it auto layout. And then click on maybe any one inside. Click on any one inside and then duplicate, and duplicate. So once I duplicate it, I'm going to click on the screen and then turn on my layout grid. I did not change this, so this should be OTP. One-time password. That is the meaning. Now you can see that this. Now you can see how this text looks like. So if I turn on this as usual. Now remember when I added this. If we add it like that, it's not going to give you the normal adjustments. It's going to scatter. You're not getting everything correct. So Figma made it in a way for us to, if you want to add something on top, an element you've already done auto layout. What you're just going to do, just as you're moving it to the position you want to put it, hold your control. But it is not everything. It is not everything you will use as control. It is not everything, because if you use it that way, there's a time you want to adjust something, it will just scatter. But as time goes on, I'm going to show you why it's not necessary that way. Now you can see that this thing I made 50, 50, 50, 60, 50, 60. You can see that the 60 for the width is too much. So I'm just going to hold this and then make it 50, 50, 50 by width, 50 by height. So I'll use 50 by height. Sorry, 50 by width. So I'm just going to hold this together. I'm going to use Alt, return it to Alt, and then I'll just drag it and everything will just correspond. So this is how it's going to look like. And then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to move this here. So once I move this here, this is going to be verified. So this is going to be verified. And this is going to be like, let's say, and didn't get. So this is what I have for OTP. So remember now, this is actually longer. So we are going to return it back to the normal screen size that we are using. So what we are using is 812. So you just return it back to 812. So then the next one we have is the confirmation screen. Now, let's come back to the design. Now you can see that we are not designing OTP decision shape. We just finished designing sign of OTP, and then we are not designing this. Verification, phone number verification. And remember, you are not taking the decision. Decision is if the OTP code is correct, it takes you to a welcome screen. If the OTP is not correct, you have to input the right code. So let's come back to our design. So the next screen I'm going to have is the confirmation screen. So this is going to be like the confirmation screen. So what I'm going to use here, I'm going to use like a box. Yeah. So remember, I'm using 300. So I'm just going to pick this one here. So this is going to be successful. So you're going to do for successful and failed. So I'm just going to do for successful because of time. So this is going to be successful. This is just like with the second one, we take it, you're successful to create an account. With the second one, we take it to the home page, stuff like that. So this is how we're going to have the web call. So this is going to be where well and come. So this is going to be the welcome screen. So the next part we're going to design is going to be the login. So in this part, you don't have to, create things from scratch. More like this is going to be more like duplicating. So I'm going to drag this down here. So for the login, like this screen is just going to be more of duplicating. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to be, so I don't need this, scroll, because login information is just email and password. So I'm just going to, bring this and this. So I'm just going to switch position. So I'm going to take this. Okay, I'm going to take this login and this, and then I'm going to switch position. So I'm going to delete this and this. I don't need this too. So I'm going to move this, and this, and also this. So I'm just going to keep it this way, yeah. And this is going to be sign up. This is going to be sign up. This is going to be login. So this is going to be enter password. This is going to be enter password. This is going to be login into your account. This is going to be welcome. So I don't need this thing I did here. So I'm just, that's, making it to scrollable. So I don't need it. So I'm just going to, so I'm going to click it and come back to this prototype. I'm going to remove it from fixed position. So I'm going to come here and take it out. I don't need it. I'm going to hold, this is okay, this is okay. I don't need this. I'm going to take it out. So I'll come back to my design. This is okay. I'm going to come here, change it to login. So I'm going to return it back to the normal screen size. So I'm going to move this down a bit. Yeah. So I'm going to come to this place and check so between the space between them is 26. So I'll come back to this place. So this is going to be 26. So you just like move your cursor and then click on your Alt key, and then you get the numbers. So I'm going to add remember my password, something like I want to show you something. Where you see that forgot password, remember my password, stuff like that. So I want to show you. Okay, still loading. I want to show you something I want to create. So yeah, I have, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this text and then dump it here, and then I will say forgot password. So yeah, I'm not going to use 16. I'm going to use, let's see, 16. 16 is actually big, so I'm going to use 14. Now we don't have 14, so I'm just going to, create 14. So you're going to create 14, but I'm trying to, make up with time, so just pardon me. So I'm just going to make this 14. So then let's see if we can see the image. Okay, since it's still loading, let's just continue. So I'm going to have something like this. So this is going to be like my call to action color, which is the black here. So this is going to be gray. Yeah, gray 3. So this is going to be remember me, like always remember me. No need to, input your information. So I'm trying to show you something the way I normally log in. Why is it taking time? I wanted to show you the way I normally log in. I don't have to input my information again. So I'm just going to create more like something like a box, a clickable box here. So I'm going to pick the height of this my text. So the height of this my text is 18. So I'm just going to come here and then make this 18. So once I make this 18, this is how it's going to look like. So I'm going to hold these two together and then do them up to that. So once I do them up to that, it's already at the center, and this is good. So for login, you can see that we have just quickly designed the login screen. And for the login, once your information is complete, just take it to the welcome screen. But if you forgot your password, let's go back to our flow. So for login, if you have the login, is your login details correct? It takes you to the welcome screen. But if in a situation where you forgot your password and you click on forgot password, now it's going to tell you to enter phone number. So now let's design. We've done the sign up screen, we've done the login screen. Now this next section we're going to design is going to be the forgot passwords flow. So this is going to be like input phone number, OTP screen, and then create password screen. So we're going to design 3 more screens. So we're going to design 3 more screens. We input the phone number, you register with the system, OTP, and then create password. Remember that we are not going to design this screen, more like duplicating the screen and more like tweaking what we already have, and then tweaking what we already have. So we're going to go back to the design where we have to design the forgot password. So there's no need of bringing it down. So I'm just going to duplicate it here. So I'm going to use this particular one. So I'll just bring this one here. So this is going to be forgot password. So let's just use forgot. So here is going to be forgot password with a question mark. Going to be now in this aspect you don't have the right to edit the phone number. So I'm taking it out. So here it's going to tell you, here it's going to be enter the phone number you register with. So here it's going to be enter the phone number you registered with. So yeah, what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to delete this and then come to my sign up. I'm going to come to my sign up, just duplicate this, and then come to this place, and then I'll add it here. Once I add it here, I didn't take the measurement before deleting it. I didn't take the spacing, the number of spacing before deleting it. So I'm just going to take the number, which is 7830. So this is going to be 78. But since okay, let's see if it's up to 78. So this is going to be 2 inches. And then I'm going to align to the center. So I'm going to take this down. So I'm going to click on this and then take it to 37, right? Yeah, 37. So I'm going to bring this down. So I didn't take this one. So I'm going to take this. So this is 22. So this is going to be 22. So this is going to be, I remember my password. So this is going to be, I remember my password. So I'm going to take the question mark, and this is going to be like login. So once you log, this is going to be send OTP or send or reset anyone. So this is going to be sent. We send any wherever right English you want to use. So yeah, I'm going to use OTP. So for OTP screen, I will just have to bring this OTP screen and edit the text. So yeah, I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to take out this edit, and then I'm just going to put star maybe at these numbers is going to be star 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Yeah. So this is how it's going to be. And then the next screen I'm going to have now, you're going to have like a confirmation screen that says the OTP is correct. You have to input. Now you can now create your password. So we're going to have like a successful screen. Remember we're going to have a failed screen or successful screen. So yeah, I'm just going to assume that the OTP is correct. So I'll just duplicate this, and then I will say, so I'm just going to change this like so this is not going to be welcome. This is going to be OTP successful. So this is going to be OTP successful screen. Successful. So the next screen is going to be create password. So I'm going to duplicate my login screen. And so for this screen, I'm going to say this is going to be like create password. So this is going to be create password. This is going to say like create a new password. Make sure it is different from the previous password. Different from the previous password. Then what you're going to do is just going to duplicate this. This is going to be like more like duplicate. I'm going to hold it. So I'm going to click on this. Now this is why it's good for you to always rename your frame so you don't get confused. Your elements so you don't get confused. So this is going to be create new password. So this is going to be create new password, and this is going to be confirm the password. Confirm. So this is going to be confirm your password, and this is going to be create your password or create a new password. Sorry, create a new password, and this is going to be confirm password. Yeah, confirm password, not confirm your password. So we don't need these two here. So we're going to take this out, and this is going to be create. So this is going to be create. So this is what we have. We don't need all these guys here. So we don't need all these guys here. So this is what we are going to have, and this is going to be so once we have, so I'm going to duplicate this welcome screen. Now remember that if you are designing, you have to design the page like if a task is carried out, you have to design if the task is carried out, if it's carried out successfully or is failed. So the reason I did not design failed um, confirmation screen is because of time, and this is how it looks like. So you can see that from our flow charts, we've done the authentication parts. We've done the authentication part starting from the splash down to this welcome screen. Now you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now if you come to this place, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and miscalculated one. Now, okay, I miscalculated one. Now this login confirmation, this OTP code, is it correct? It's going to be like a decision asking you yes or no. But now, if you are designing for the design principles, remember when we talk about feedback, when about the UX, when your user perform an action or a task is being carried out, you have to give them a feedback if that task is successful or failed. So that is why we have three welcome screen, not welcome screen. We have we have this successful screen here. So if this OTP code is not correct, you have to design for the failed screen. But if the OTP is correct, then you already have the successful. Same thing for the login, same thing for where is the login? Same thing for the login, and same thing for the creation of password. Now let's run a very short prototype for this design. Let's run like a short prototype, how your new user is going to, come on board as a new user. And this is the sign of the welcome screen. So I'm going to delete this one. So I'm going to click now. I'm going to delete this one. So either they log in as a new user, it will take them here. Either they sign up as a new user, it will take them here. So I'm going to design I'm going to run a prototype. So let me take these screens. Okay, it's okay this way. So I'm going to run a prototype for logging in as a new user. Sorry, coming in as a new user, coming as an old user, and coming as an old user that have forgot their password. So I'm going to use 3 persons in our class. We have Musa, Kemi, and Esther. Esther is a new user. Kemi is already an old user. And Musa is already an old user that has forgot his password. So he can't remember his password. So these are the 3 users I'm going to run a prototype for. Now, prototype as a new user, let's start. So we'll go to prototype here. We'll click on splash. So once I click on splash, I'm going to you see this plus sign here. Remove it here. So remember we did some, prototype when we designed our first 3 onboarding screen. Week 1, day 2. So I don't want it to be click. I just want it to go as after delay. So I'm just going to click here. So this is going to be like after delay. So I'm going to come to this preview. I'm going to click here. So you can see that it just move on its own, but it's kind of fast. So I'm going to come to my settings, and this is like the higher the number, the faster. So no, let me confirm first. So let me use 2000. Let's see if it's the higher, the slower the number. Okay, yes, the higher the number, the slower it is. So I'm not going to do instant. I'm going to do more like smart animate, more like bounce or stun, stuff like that. So let's just do like Gen 2. So I'm going to come to this place. Yeah, I think I'm okay with Gen 2. So if you do bounce, it will just bounce like a ball. You can see that it just bounce like a ball. So I'm going to do like slow. So I'll use slow. Now, I think this is okay. So remember, it's higher. This is higher the milliseconds, the slower it becomes. So we are okay with my splash. So I just want my splash to just work on its own without touching it. This is what I want. So I'm okay with this settings. So the next one is going to be so this is going to be here, and I'm going to move it to this next screen. So how do I want it to move? I want it to be, it's just going to pick this former settings that I did for that screen. But now I don't want it. I just want it to just go instantly. So I'm going to repeat the same process. Instant. I'm going to repeat the same process here. So I'm going to repeat the same process for get started. So I'm going to repeat the same process here. So I'm going to come for sign up. So once I click on the sign up button, it takes me to this screen. So once we start designing that interactive component, I'm going to teach you how you're going to do your interaction. I'm going to show you how your interaction is going to work. You don't have to create multiple screens for how the input field is going to look like when it's empty, how the input field is going to look like when it's filled, how the input field is going to look like when it's filled up. So when we start learning interactive component, I'm going to show you how all you have to do is just to click inside. You don't have to design multiple screens. But for now, since we're just testing this, like remember this is a mid-field, and we want to allow the users to go through the flow, go through the roadmap if it's actually okay. But since we're just working this way, so if they come to that sign up, they'll just click on the button. It takes them to verify. So remember, it's picking the last setting, which I am okay with it. So once I click on verify the phone number, you can now add error or successful screen. So this is going to take us to this welcome screen here. So this is going to take us to the welcome screen. So this is what we have. So if we test run Esther's, now if Esther test run, remember Esther is a new user. Now let's test run her work now. Then you click on this next, get started, sign up. After inputting your image, maybe you scroll, you see what you want, you click on sign up, you input your numbers, and then you click on verify. You then have a successful screen. Then you actually miss off something. What if I click on edit? What if I want to edit this phone number? How am I going to do it? Now this is the reason why this your edit now needs to stand on its own. So if assuming you type edit here, and let's assume that you type this whole text and you added this edit here. Now, if you want to interact with this product, now it will make you, if you want to interact now, it will just make you to pick the whole information. Even if my finger mistakenly touch the T, it will just interact. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay. So for this, I'm just going to make this screen edit to go back to the screen. So if I click on this edit here, it's going to take me back to this. So if I click here, it's going to take me back to the screen. Now we've done for Esther's flow. This is how Esther's roadmap as a new user, how she's going to interact with the product. Now let's do for Kemi. Now for Kemi is already an old user. She has already signed up before, but she just wants to log into the app to order food again. So for here, we are going to just come to this login, straight to move now. Come to this login. So when we come to this login, we already have the last information. And when we click on this login here, it just take us to this screen here. We pick the last. I love the last setting, so which is actually okay for a starter. Now, what if you want to forget password? If I click on forget password, it takes me to this screen. Just the same normal flow. So here it takes me to send. Here it takes me to send. Then after inputting, it takes me to confirmation screen. After the confirmation, now the next thing I want is just going to be after delay. So the next thing is just going to be after delay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here, scroll up to after delay, and then I will still use that same pattern I used, 2000 milliseconds for it. So this is going to be like this is going to be smart anime, and it's going to be Gen 2. So I'm going to let's make this 1002. Yeah. So once I've created my new password, it should take me back to login screen. So then another thing is this, I remember my password. So if I click on this, I remember my password, it should just take me back to login. And then also this text here. So once I click on sign up, it should just take me back to this screen. And once I click, no, I'm going to take this out to instance. So I think the settings do not apply here. So I'm going to change this to instance. So the next thing I'm going to do is going to be this, and yeah. So we've worked on all the prototype for authentication, coming in as a user that forgot her password or his password, coming as a user that have already ordered food before but you just want to order food again, or coming as a user that that have never used the app before. Now let's run through the prototype as the first user that have never ordered the food before on that app. So this is what we have. So after some delay, this is how it's going to work. We'll click on next, get started. Now we're going to sign up, input your information, click on sign up, edit, and go back, click on sign up. And let's say, for example, you just want to see if the system is going to ask you to log you in if you just randomly put your email. So if I click here, it's going to take me to here. If I click sign up, it's going to take me here. Click on login. You can see wherever, anyhow you just go, it's going to, it's going to take you back. So you can go back to sign up, you click here, verify, delay. The delay is taking time. So we are going to work on that. So the delay took some time. So I'm going to work on that. Okay, it's on click. Yeah. So I'm going to make it after delay. This is where it's supposed to work. This is where it's supposed to work. So this should be after delay. Yeah, this should be Gen 2, yes, but it took time. Yeah, so let's make it 1000. And let's make it 1000. So let's start from here, OTP. Yeah, I think it's okay. But I think the bouncing, I don't like the way it bounced. Let's see. I don't like, let me try again and see it. I don't like the way it bounced or it just moves. So I'm going to touch it. So I don't like that pattern gently. So I'll just use slow. So let's see from here. Yeah. Okay, let me refresh. Let's do instant. Let's start from here. Yeah, I think this is okay. This is okay. So this is what we have. So we've worked on all the flows. So we can now share our prototype link. So I'm going to share the prototype link for you to experiment. So it's telling, mark for dev. No. So I'm going to share the prototype link so that you can just, have just to interact it on your system. So do we have any question to ask?